Okay, I'd like to call to order the Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Wednesday, September 11th, 2019 at 7:01. The first agenda item is discussion with NORTHBROWN LLC. Ed, would you like to join us?
Sure. Didn't have much to discuss with you folks tonight. We are still waiting for the town to complete the testing on the cistern so that we can wrap that up.
I think I saw an email that you're planning on the 20th.
20th, yeah.
Okay, I saw that email.
So hopefully that'll get done.
Yeah.
And other than that, we're continuing to build in phase 2. I think I provided an updated
You did,
Yeah.
construction sales guide.
Yep.
Yeah, did you have a chance to see that correspondence from the fire chief?
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah, we were hoping to get the cistern approved, and before we made the final, we paid half of the
Okay.
amounts, and we were going to pay the balance when everything was approved, and we made sure that the chief was okay with all of the equipment.
Okay.
If we can get a letter from the chief saying that, you know, that we've delivered everything that we're required to deliver under, I think, section 4F of the amended MOU, we would pay it right away.
Okay.
Okay, so you were figuring that the inspection of the cistern would mean that everything actually was done, right? Is that-
Well, once the inspection, yeah, once the
Yeah.
cistern's
The
inspected,
testing,
the
yeah.
town would approve it and we'd be done.
Yeah.
So all goes well on the 20th, it would happen shortly after that.
Yes, well, that's for the flow test, and I guess Stantec won't do the leak test until after the flow test is done. I'm not sure why. That's, you know, so hopefully.
Do you have to book, or does anybody have to book Stantec? In order to shorten the time frame, I'm thinking.
In terms of them, they said they wouldn't do it until after the flow test.
Okay, and
So the limiting factor, and they don't schedule the flow test. The flow test was scheduled with the chief because he had to get
Okay.
somebody to show him how to do it. So, and then there was the wrong fitting, so it was scheduled for last month, and the wrong fitting, so they couldn't do it, so they had to reschedule it, and now it's the 20th. I know, it's just dragging on.
Yeah.
You know, one would think it'd be easy to
No, it's going in the right direction.
put in a water tank in. Now they got 2 sets of gas tanks and they're placed in town.
Like you just said.
Can you communicate with these guys and let them know what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm just reading through this and it says they made several attempts, so if you,
Well,
well, whatever, I don't wanna
yeah,
get into that.
no, I know.
but if you-
I
If
think
you
we will.
communicate
We
with
will.
them,
It
that way
has-
they won't be
Yeah, I
calling
don't
Ken
like
all
to,
the time.
yeah, I don't like to
Yep.
stretch them out anyway.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Ed?
All set. Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim,
Tim?
Tim?
Yeah, I'm
Mr.
right here.
Barlow,
You didn't get me?
sorry,
I was just saying goodbye.
I didn't realize you were scooching out the door.
When you say goodbye, that's where I head.
I know. I asked you last time about your long time ago
Yeah,
thingy.
yeah,
And the reason was that I'd like to see a mature
yeah,
area that's, you know, been there for a while.
okay.
I'm kind of wondering how it works, whether they're all mature bushes or trees or whatever, or whether they get dug up and replanted so that they're all small all the time. I mean, I just haven't got it, I just don't know.
Yeah,
But I'm running into no luck
Okay.
in looking up the Apple Tree Estates, which is
Yeah.
what you said in Harvard.
yeah,
I asked Mr. Cundiff if he'd check with Harvard themselves. He did, and they have no knowledge of Apple Tree Estates either. So I'm a little wondering-ish if you can help me out.
I can, yeah.
Okay.
Let me try to find the address for you. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
it was over 20 years ago.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
I know.
so-
And that, you know, it was curiosity, and since I'm over in that area occasionally.
No, I don't.
Harvard is,
Done a few things
Yeah.
since then.
We like to
Harvard's a
move on.
different kind of town.
Yeah. And it was done for another contractor,
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
Well,
Harvard was
a job we worked on.
yeah.
So,
Okay, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
you bet.
Yeah, if you, get it to Bill and I'll get to
Okay.
him.
Thank you.
so much.
See ya.
We're doing a job up here now.
I
See ya.
The building inspector will take a call
How you doing?
between 8 and 8:30.
I see.
And if you call him at 8:31, he doesn't answer.
It's the next day, 8
No,
o'clock.
no, 2
Between
days.
8, oh, 2 days.
1 minute late, that's it.
That's it, you're out.
Sorry.
Our public hearing is at 7:15. Should we do the minutes of
Okay.
August 14th?
Joe.
Anybody's had a chance to
I have
review
it.
it?
Hey, John, how's it going? How's it going?
Who's here?
Hey, Sean.
Always a grand entrance.
It's Father Sean.
Play move, right?
I wanted you to think, I didn't want you to think I was messing with you.
Traffic on Depot Street.
I was not in any way texting to you while I was driving.
No, but yeah,
That absolutely did not,
That's why-
that did not happen.
No, that's why he's late.
Long ride down.
Over to
Pull
text you
over.
back.
Stop
Thank
without
you very
very
much.
much. No problem. I'm at GBI, I'm in the lot.
Thank you for acknowledging I misspelled right there.
Yes, we'll look that up in the camera, make sure you're telling us the truth.
Sorry, Sean. My fault.
I'm up now. Pick it up, that's it.
I just had a couple of changes.
Thank you.
Right at the beginning, absent Sean Holland, it was an excused absence. And under Mark Kaplan, he's not an interim.
Oh, thank you.
Mary accidentally put you as an interim building inspector, but you're not that anymore.
No,
Lucky you.
I'll move that we approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Holmes, second by Mr. Bombara, to approve the minutes of August 14th as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Sean abstained.
I'm watching now. I made that.
All right, we also have, couple of, that we could take
Sign
care
the,
of.
sign the
We have,
decision.
a couple of bills that need to be signed. Pass them around, maybe take corrections.
There you go, Mike.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was just one.
You got that one, Mike?
I didn't do that one yet, I will. I'll trade with you. I'll do that one. Oh, that's what, yours is more than mine.
Such brutality.
Usually my knees are gone. I was on tilt for like a thyroid for a long time. Get up in the middle like just stop.
We also have a decision for a special permit for Doug Ward from last month.
Oh,
I
cool.
think it was emailed to everybody, but
Yeah. Yep, today.
sign that, and get some housekeeping done. Oh, actually, you weren't here. You weren't here,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, you can't sign that.
Well, I could, but it would be through.
You'd have to be here.
Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Pat, I appreciate that.
I'm still contesting the,
My wife doesn't do it enough, I appreciate you pointing it out, thank you.
the excuse that.
You don't believe it? You'd be suspicious about that, then.
I want to review the camera. When me and Louie get done with the other stuff.
That's right. We're looking at the camera.
Okay, I confess.
We're at the Patriots game. Look at the
You know
camera.
what, if you two can get together and find the cameras, that'll be an interesting experience.
We have the cameras.
With what?
Yeah, we know where they are.
You just said you were at GBI. We have.
Oh, for coming late, you mean?
We have
Oh, you got those
electronic
cameras?
proof. You admit it.
But that's not the excuse. The excuse is the one, I sent an email the day before, so I wanted.
You could have been there before, eh?
It's true, it is true. I am capable of such treachery.
Mont Blanc too. I read.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
That's French, though. Oh, I'm sorry. That's
Somebody
French.
stole the ink thing out of mine. I think my kid, one of the kids did it. They're out of ink, so shovel it anyway.
Fitness resource group, can you help him?
Mr. Chairman, should I not sit here in front of the sun? Should I step away from the table?
No,
Because I wasn't.
the other members will be voting, but you can participate, so.
Yeah, you can hang on.
Actually, you said you watched it, right?
I'm not a full member.
Yeah, he's gonna participate, we're just,
Yeah.
the voting members were announced at the last
Yeah.
meeting, so it'll be the five of us. You want Sean's input?
Well, that's very kind. Thank you, I appreciate that. God only knows what this board must have come to.
Never stopped me before from saying something.
That's very hurtful, Mr. Bond, very hurtful. Not inaccurate, not inaccurate, just hurtful. Like most things in life.
You know, just can't stay still.
Well, we have a town meeting coming up, I don't know if we can hold a public hearing or
You get any zoning change has to be presented.
Daniel?
Planning board.
Yeah, planning board first for a public hearing, and then it goes on.
I was wondering if Henry was here. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Maybe,
Right away.
Same here, same here.
well, I copied you on everything.
Putting your mail on.
I did, it was in this pile right here.
No, the town.
I got enough
But I
problems.
copied
How come he's
Jack.
using our third of the table?
You don't have.
How come he's using our third of the table?
I don't know, he's spread all over.
Oh,
Makes
good.
it easier for her to reach him.
Oh, no.
How'd you get that blister, you fall down?
No, believe it or not, I
know what it's from, because I need to get a lot of work
Okay,
patching my lawn yesterday.
He's a gentleman.
Well, that's what you call it,
You copied him on everything.
Some people do call it doing laundry.
Anything else like that?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, you and Dan is upset.
now?
How's Adam's toast?
Good, he has another infection we found out today. We go down to the 23rd or 24th, which is a Tuesday. So, spend it early out.
New York.
Yeah. It's just a ride, it's all. It's either 3 hours or 6.
Should have gone today, September 11th.
Yeah.
okay, the next agenda item is the continued public hearing for Dan Dudley, case number 2019-08. Mr. Lane, would you like to join us?
Mr. Lane, how's it going? Lovely people here.
All right, I guess since the last time we were here, we have not made a lot of progress. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to ask that it be continued for another month.
Could someone refresh my memory and tell me what were we going to be doing?
Well, we
What
were-
progress, how are we gonna make
We
progress?
were looking to see if we could work out some other arrangement.
Yeah.
But so far, we have been unable to do that.
And can you tell me what type of actions have been, or what's been done to try to get to that other arrangement or another arrangement?
Well, I can't go into great detail,
Okay.
but we have, we
I mean,
anticipate.
other than time passing,
Yeah, no, we,
some actions have been taken?
some action have been taken,
Okay.
which I'm not at liberty to
Mhm.
disclose, and I've been advised that in the coming month, we should be able to achieve a resolution.
Really?
We had a discussion last month that we
Yeah.
tried to,
This was gonna be it. This is gonna be it.
Yeah.
Last one. I was the one that suggested it, that it get done. I don't know.
What was the suggestion that Mike
That's what
made?
The traffic
Was
was
it you?
thinking, no, he was thinking, I agree with him, just moving in a different direction
Mhm.
on the other side of the property where it was less non-conforming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's 2 feet off, we want more than that. So, and he has ways and means of doing that, moving to the other side of the house there. So,
my recollection is the board was pretty clear, we wanted to resolve this tonight. It's been over a year, I
Yeah.
believe, since it originally started. I'm sorry, John, did you?
No,
Did I interrupt you?
Mike was,
Oh.
no, I'm good.
Oh, I've given it a little thought, and he obviously needs some relief because the width of his lot is 85 feet, 85.78 feet. So 50 and 25, 75, so he's got a 10-foot building envelope.
Problem, yeah.
2 feet off the property line is a stretch, 4 feet is a stretch. Myself, I would be inclined to cut that setback in half where he has a challenge because it's a narrow lot. So if we cut that setback in half, the 12 feet off the back line, he essentially creates a building envelope that's 23 feet by 530 feet long. It should give him ample space to figure out a spot to put it. We did venture down this path last time we talked, so to be proactive with it, I gave it a little thought to see what would be a reasonable approach. Obviously, it's a problem lot because it's narrow.
Yeah.
Just 2 feet off the rear line. Today, you have 2 neighbors that are getting along. One neighbor moves and a new neighbor comes in, it's not always the case, and I understand that the variance gets granted. You're stuck with the situation, but I'm just not comfortable being that close to the property line. Not when we have other options.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I really, like I said all along, I don't, I mean, if you give them 2 feet, what's the big deal?
What's the big deal of having it 2 feet from the property line?
Yeah.
Why do we have zoning laws that say it's 25? We can go round and round with that, but the
Yeah,
bottom
but
line
we
is.
gave variances for that.
No, we didn't.
We never did?
No, I don't
The
believe
house
so.
is
I don't
usually
believe
there
so.
at the property line if we gave it to him. And I only know of once we did.
Yeah, well, he has the house there.
It was there.
It's there.
And we had a case not so long ago where someone wanted to build a garage within, I believe, 4 or 6 feet from the lot line. It was an oversized garage. We said, it's not gonna fly. He came back with a conventional sized garage, 24 by 24, he had like 24 by 30 or 28 by 30.
Yep.
He cut it back, and we negotiated
Yeah.
but we said, hold on, at that time, 4 feet was way too close.
Yep.
And I think he got it up to, I don't recall, 10 or 12.
I remember that.
Yeah, but, excuse me, but how many years has this been here? I mean,
Not that
We don't
long.
know. We don't
According
know.
to
It's
7
less
or
than
8,
10.
one of them
Less
7
than
or
10.
8.
7, 8, right?
With no
Yes.
permit.
with no permit. And had a permit been applied for, you would have had the opportunity to get guidance from the then building commissioner as to where and how he could place that shed, but without a permit, there was
No guidance.
just kind of,
Just some further information. I had asked Maria to contact Henry to find out what the size of these sheds were. So the larger shed is 12 by 16, the smaller shed is 8 by 8. This is an email that came from Henry Lane's
Okay.
office today.
That must be true.
I'm not debating whether it's true or not. I haven't
Don't
physically
say
met them, so if you would prefer to have a professional surveyor confirm that you're true, then you could do that, but I'm gonna assume that it's true.
Excuse me, but what's the new law? State law, what's the new law? 400 square feet? 200 square feet, what is it?
For what, a shed?
Yeah.
You're talking about building, the requirement for a building permit? That still doesn't exclude you from setbacks.
correct.
Is that correct, Mike?
No.
Yes, correct, okay.
That's correct.
Have you got the law?
It's anything 200 square feet and over, you need a building permit. But you cannot put any shed in a setback.
Regardless of the size, it has to conform to zoning.
Yeah, so you're right in the fact about the building permit, it is in building code, I've seen it, but you still can't, you have your setbacks.
You can't put it on the line?
No, you
Nope.
cannot.
And you read, it can't be put on the line, right?
No accessory structure can be put in the setbacks. It can be put on the setback line.
It's not,
If the
it's not,
setback's 20 feet, it can be put right on that 20 feet, but it can't be put on the property line.
it's not, the building code, when it get into setbacks, that would be our zoning.
It'd be
Correct.
zoning, correct, yeah.
So why are we going down this rabbit hole now?
No, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah,
That-
just no.
No,
Let's
Louis
just-
brought this up a
Right,
couple
right.
times, and we've
Right.
talked about it, so we might as well clarify.
I must have read it wrong.
No, you're right,
If it's
and
in
you're
fact-
wrong. As far as the building permit, you don't need one under 200 square feet,
So-
but you still have to comply with zoning setbacks to put that structure there.
We have to make a decision what we're gonna do.
You say so, you read it, right?
Oh, I read it, yeah.
Okay.
So we need to make a decision on how we're gonna handle the request to continue.
You don't want to give
Let
them
me
another
ask
month?
a
For what?
hypothetical
This
question.
thing here.
So,
What would be an acceptable setback?
Oh,
I think we discussed that at last
Yeah.
month's meeting, that my understanding was if you complied with the front setback, he has enough property to comply with the sideline, and we would be willing to
If
grant
you
a
look on the
variance.
back of that piece of paper I just gave you, I drew a little spot of his map there. So
So-
it'll leave you 23 feet by 530 feet for a buildable envelope to put the sheds. And you get an 8 by 8 and a 12 by 16. You have, I
So you're
think
looking
you
at
have
12
a
feet.
lot of space to put, you can spin the thing sideways and still be in.
Yep.
So 12 feet, I guess, is the answer. That would be a rear setback of 12 feet. And they would comply with front and sideline.
And be
I think
over.
it's more than a fair compromise.
I mean, it sounds like it's gonna have to be moved, period, anyway.
Yes.
So if it's gonna have to be moved, then it can be moved to the 12-foot position. And hunky-dory with the ZBA, hopefully the owner of the property. And actually, the butter is not impacted.
Correct.
That is closer than what we typically.
I know it is.
I know that.
We're giving-
I'm trying to be as fair
We're
as
giving
possible
and
with
trying to be
the
fair, yeah.
situation. It's an awkward lot because it's so narrow.
Yeah, now it's solved the problem for the abutter.
Solves the problem for everybody, I
Yeah.
would think, but that would be up to Henry's client, I guess. Or the applicant,
Are you formally requesting a continuance? Is that?
Well, can I take a 2-minute recess to
Absolutely you
I'd be
can.
willing to go with a recess.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Henry.
Bring my plans. Okay.
They're always gonna move it.
You don't have to.
So I asked Ed to contact these people, hey, this ain't not getting any response.
Yeah, so,
We're gonna need the month to sort it out. I
As-
appreciate the board being forth, right about what they would accept, so.
I made the suggestion. I personally feel it's a reasonable compromise.
that was 30 days ago, or thereabouts.
It's been going on for a very long time. Just trying to help to get a resolution to it
I can assure you
that
there's
everybody would be.
places I'd rather be than here.
Yeah.
So they wanna go to court with it, right?
That's not even,
No.
that's not even up for discussion.
No.
I'd go.
And as Attorney Lane knows, there's very few appeals of variances that prevail.
But every once in a while lightning strikes.
Right.
Go ahead, give him a straw, come on.
I want you to remember that.
Gotta be careful if you're playing with matches and lightning, though.
So then we just need a motion to continue the,
If that's what the board chooses to do.
I mean, for me, it's my last time. We've gone through this for a year.
I think unfortunately, we said that last month.
I know.
And 30 days, I believe, is plenty of time to come up with an alternative plan, especially knowing where the board sits at 2 feet.
I
Wasn't
don't
gonna fly.
understand what's gonna change in 30 days.
I don't either.
Thank you, Mike, for your thought process. I really appreciate it. Because I'm not a builder, but it certainly sounds reasonable, and I have no idea.
Maybe he has a plan.
Well, yeah, maybe he does.
I think we should give him 30 days.
We've been waiting for that plan for a year.
Up to you.
That's okay. What's a year? Christ's sakes.
Louis waited longer than that.
Yeah.
I've been fighting for 10 years. Federal court says.
We know that.
So far.
We know that,
So
Louis.
far, the only guy that isn't gonna have to pay me is this guy.
All right, we're gonna-
And you.
Let's stick to the
Yeah.
case at hand.
Yes, thank you.
Henry's getting paid, he don't care. So,
What's the board's pleasure?
I don't think I owe him any money either.
I want yours.
I'm not in favor of continuance, I'll tell you that. I think that adequate time has been given to this case. I think that, I won't be voting for it. I'll tell you that.
It's okay.
I know it is. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do what you gotta do.
I say a month. But everyone understanding what's gonna happen is no big deal. Maybe Henry's got a rabbit in his hat. How do I know? What's a month? What's a big deal?
That's what we said last month.
Yeah, so what? We said it. So what? We said it. But it's words. We said it. But what's a big deal? He's probably working on something. And at this time, he don't have the liberty to tell us. As Sean will tell you, those lawyers are like that. Right, Sean? You know, and I say we give him another month. We say, hey, this is the last thing. What's a big deal? A month. 30 days.
We said that last month, Will.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I know, but so what? So what? We can say it for another month. Come on, it don't mean nothing. That's how I feel about it.
We know.
You do have a plan, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Says he has a plan. Why wouldn't you give a guy, people that pay taxes in this town, the benefit of the doubt?
I think we've been doing that for over a year.
So what? You've been doing me for 10 years.
It's
What's
nothing
the
to
big
do with the
deal?
benefit of the doubt.
But he says he has a plan.
Well, that's what he said last month. He'd come back with a new
No, he
plan.
was confused last month.
I think he can speak for himself, Lou. So,
So I'll make the motion that we postpone this, Dan Dudley's 219-08, one more month. That would be into October.
9th at 7:15.
I'll second it.
Okay, a second. Would you like to discuss this further before the vote?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I don't know how long we can continue to do this.
I know.
I thought we were quite clear last month that we, and they're coming in with nothing, not even a minor change.
An engineer or trucking company that moved it, nothing came in.
An
Nothing can-
explanation,
Yes. there is
simple explanation,
Okay.
not there.
Mike, do you have any thoughts?
Oh, I have a lot, but I probably shouldn't share them.
You get 2 votes, right?
Well, we just got, yeah. I
Nobody
made the
else?
motion, you seconded
Yeah.
it, now we got a vote.
Motions are always made in the positive.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so we're ready to vote?
I am.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bombara, seconded by Mr. Tassino, to continue the public hearing for, till the meeting next month. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
No,
Abstain.
Abstained. Okay, so the public hearing will not be continued. We want to move forward with your, so we have no choice.
All things being equal, I guess we would take whatever the board will give us.
Okay. All right. I like Mike's proposal.
You want a motion?
Sure.
Johnny on the spot. Mike?
I'd make a motion to grant him relief on the rear setback. He can go up to 12 feet to the rear property line for case number 2019-08.
Okay, just for clarification, so the motion is to allow him to
Be within 12 feet.
be
of the
within
rear.
12 feet, so it would be a variance of 13,
Okay.
correct? Okay. The motion is to grant a variance for 13, leaving 12 remaining
For the rear
for the
setback.
rear setback. And to be compliance with the front and side setbacks.
Correct.
And that's shed number 1?
No,
I think
that's
for both sheds?
Okay.
So both sheds would need to be in excess of 12 feet from the rear lot line
Mhm.
and comply with zoning in every other way.
The other 3 sides, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Holmes. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. So your variance is granted for 12 feet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Henry.
What was it that Tina Turner said?
Huh?
What was it that Tina Turner said?
Oh.
You can't always get what you want.
It was open. The decision hearing. Okay.
What, I guess we're gonna need a motion to close that public hearing.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Second it.
A motion by Mrs. Holmes, seconded by Mr. Bombara to close the public hearing in case number 2019-08. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing is closed.
So is that vote? that
So it's the
was still
decision
valid?
hearing.
Yeah, the vote happened during the public hearing.
Never give him a time limit.
Time limit?
And when they do it.
He can wait 5 years.
No, you can't.
No time limit.
Okay,
so.
whatever, I'm not gonna argue with that.
You gotta give him a time limit.
I think he has a zoning violation
Let's check with the
as of
building
today.
commissioner
What
as
are we
to
gonna
whether
do?
he
Move it.
needs any
To move it.
assistance.
Mark, what is your position on,
He's not, he's not.
what was your position on, he got a variance of 12 feet? And at what time would you take action if he doesn't
30?
comply.
When the board tells me to.
Yeah.
That would be after the 20-day appeal period,
They
correct?
already closed the thing though. Can't go back in.
I didn't say I was going back.
No, I'm not going back in.
When do you pass your bar exam anyways?
Passed it last week.
Oh, good, yeah.
So,
You're gonna need it.
Anyway.
we'll, at that.
Cross that bridge when we
Next
get
month.
to it, I
Right,
guess.
next can put that in the decision.
Yeah.
We'll speak to
Yeah.
council and
Yeah.
have it put in the decision.
gonna give?
Hey, can we take care of number 7:30 here?
Yes, we can.
I'm not gonna keep going
Okay.
back and forth with this guy. This guy's been waiting, let's
No,
hear it.
this was,
The next,
He told me to tie you up.
the next agenda item,
Tie me out, brother.
next agenda item is
Issue the decision.
case number 2019-0-10. This case was advertised in the Telegram Gazette and also posted in the Town Hall and read as follows. The Town of Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing at 7:30 on Wednesday, September 11th in the Douglas Municipal Center, Community Meeting Room, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. To hear the application of Howard BALLOU. He is requesting a special permit in a village residential VR zone district pursuant to the Douglas zoning bylaws, section 3.4.3, non-conforming structures, to construct a 28-foot by 30-foot attached two-car garage with interior access ramp and/or a variance pursuant to section 3.4.4, variance required, to vary the required 50-foot front yard setback to a 33.5-foot front yard setback to build a 28 by 30-foot detached two-car garage on property located at 38 Railroad Ave, Assessors Map 190, Parcel 35. We have correspondence from the planning board, says they don't have no opposition to this application, and voting on this matter will be Mrs. Holmes, Mr. Fitzpatrick, Mr. Bombara, Mr. Holland, and myself. Mr. Tassino will be participating in the discussion as well.
That's when we take a vote on that.
Okay. So, Marie, did we get all the certified mailings back?
yes.
Great, thank you. The applicant or the representative here?
Howard BALLOU.
Thank you.
She's on a corner lot, and it's just not enough room for the road.
Okay, actually, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I did have a discussion with the building commissioner, and there was some question whether they need a variance or they need a special permit. Mark, do you want to go through that with it?
Yeah, because, I mean, I feel that you guys need to decide whether it's an attached or detached garage.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was a question.
So their criteria of attachment is a deck. So you need to,
Oh, okay.
there's no definition in this that says attached or detached garage.
Yeah,
So if you want
Well,
to
he
go
probably
by,
knows.
deck's okay. Deck's okay.
That's okay?
That's okay.
That's what I figured.
So it's detached.
What?
Is it attached or detached?
If you got a deck, it's attached.
Okay. All right.
You know that.
There's two
Oh, wait a minute,
definitions.
we have some questions.
No,
here.
there's not necessarily a question, I suppose, this is a statement. I believe that there's a definition of a building and a definition of a structure in the back. And I
yeah,
think that there is at least an argument to be made that it's a structure as opposed to a building, just the way that the definitions are.
Yes, there is an
in-
argument.
in the zoning. That's all. And I just thought that that was something that should be, because it seems like in this particular case, running a piece of string from your house to your intended garage is one thing. A deck that looks like it's used for, and I'm making an inference here that I have no reason, I guess, to have, except from looking at the plans,
Yeah.
that it looks like it possibly is a sort of an access ramp, somebody possibly that needs a wheelchair or some
you
type
guys
of
should have a
device
set of building
in order
plans.
to,
We do.
yeah, in order to move.
He has a walker.
A walker, and needs that, and uses the deck area, I assume, to move about and to enter the property and to exit the property. Which I don't know, at least in my mind, it was a different in-kind kind of an argument than a string or a concrete wall that was built to connect the buildings. That was a,
What's wrong with this?
So-
with the string?
If,
The town is
if we're considering the deck as the connection to the garage,
Right.
then he would require a special permit, because he's adding on to a pre-existing non-conforming structure.
Right.
If we're considering the two-car garage as a detached, separate, then they would require a variance, because they're too close to the lot line. So,
What did you apply for?
they applied for both, actually.
It's okay. And, you know, this is my opinion, Mr. Chairman. It is attached to the deck. It's- So, it's attached, if you know what I mean.
Yep, that's fine. So if the board determines that it is attached by means of that deck, then they'd be seeking a special permit.
And that goes to the planning board.
That goes here.
Right.
That's here,
That's it,
ZBA.
ZBA.
It's here, ZBA, us.
Yeah.
I thought we didn't give them more
So
special.
on
permits.
the variance, they would just be looking for relief on the front setback.
That's it.
I think,
Yeah.
because they're on a corner lot, I think it's both front and, well,
No,
that lot has two front setbacks because it's a corner lot.
Yeah, so the front one would be 50 feet and it's not. And
And the side
the other
one-
one's 48.
But that has to be 50
50,
because it's on a road.
Yeah.
If it's a special permit, they just need relief or grant a special permit.
Yeah. I
So I guess
take
we
no issue with this.
we need to
Does
take
it
a vote.
matter technically as to what we can and cannot do, or what they can and cannot do? Does it is there,
You mean attached or not attached?
yeah, well, is
Yeah.
there a difference between giving them a special permit or a variance?
Wouldn't, I apologize for interrupting.
No, go ahead.
Wouldn't the difference be if it's a special permit, standard is lower, and it doesn't require the supermajority that the variance would require,
Perhaps.
which has the higher standard?
That's correct.
That's,
That's good.
that seems
That's
to be
good.
the
Simple.
difference
Yep,
that exists in my mind.
yep.
And in this, although we're just beginning the hearing and we don't have many facts, and there might be people in the audience who want to make a statement,
good
I
to
don't
get
want
things
to think
clear.
anybody just thought I made up my mind.
No.
It just seems to me that this might be a circumstance, given the nature of the way that the property is used. The deck might be a structure, because it does facilitate access to the
Egress.
house by somebody who actually needs it in order to get into the property, whereas under different
an integral
circumstances,
part of
I'm
it.
not sure that that's a structure, necessarily a deck, that's all.
Well, this deck isn't how he gets to the house. This one has steps. He has a ramp on the front of the house that he uses to get in.
One of the, and I just going by the description that was given here, isn't there a ramp inside the new garage? It's gonna lead
Inside,
up to
yes.
that,
Yeah.
which is then gonna give him the ability to enter into the property. So in my mind, at least, that kicks it up to a structure. But I don't necessarily think, I'm not arguing with you, just in terms of hypothetical for the board, I just don't think necessarily the deck always constitutes a structure, that was all. I just think in these particular circumstances, in my mind, a special permit was the way to go, because it's, the type of a structure. that's
It's the
being-
inside of
yes,
the garage.
which is gonna lead up to
That's
the
the
deck.
deck, right.
That's all. For instance, I don't want to create a rule that says if you take a piece of string and you connect your house to a piece of string and then build a building, well, that's a structure, so therefore, that's a special permit. I just think the circumstances suggest that it's more of a structure than not. That was all. And I'll stop, I apologize.
No, that's fine. Do you want to make a motion to that effect?
Going away.
Sure, yeah, I'm happy. I would move that we consider this particular application as a special permit. Although I'm leery of doing that before we hear any additional facts, but
Yeah.
that we would move to accept as a special permit
Yeah.
based upon at least the suggested facts from the plan that this is being used to coordinate basically access from the
Entrance
garage
to the house.
to the house,
Yeah.
involving somebody under extraordinary circumstances who needs that assistance. I'm not trying to insult anybody or belittle anybody or do anything along those
No.
lines, just to suggest that the nature of that deck and that is different in kind than necessarily a regular deck.
I would agree with that.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Holland to consider this application a special permit, not a variance, and that's seconded by Mr. Fitzpatrick. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay, so Howard, you will be applying for a special permit tonight.
Okay, so,
No, we're not done yet, right?
oh,
He's not leaving.
Yeah, no, I thought he was. Look,
No, he's,
Just
he-
getting going.
trick that guy.
now he can give us his presentation.
Yeah.
And we know that we're looking at
Yeah, we're looking at a
his
special
request for a special
Yeah,
permit.
that was edifying. Oh, no, you put took your elastic off and then put it back on?
Well, he didn't want to lose it.
It's the same thing as we got though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's the,
Well, this
that's
is
the
all
lot
we
layout.
need, yeah.
This is the actual garage.
Yeah,
You have the small print
Yeah.
of
this
it.
is all we need.
Thank you.
Yes.
And it shows the deck, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
the deck is in between. The garage is gonna butt up to the deck. I'm gonna cut it back so that it connects to the garage. And it's pretty much that simple.
And obviously to build the size garage that's needed for with the ramp and all, but you're too close to the lot line.
Right. Well, there was a swimming
One
pool
foot,
there
foot
that
and a
was,
half.
was within that same print. So basically, they removed the pool, so we're going right to the edge where the pool was so that they don't have to disturb the driveway or anything else is getting disturbed. It's just that area.
Yeah, I looked up on the GIS system, the town's map system, and that lot looked like it had a house and a pool. I think it looks like a pool, and 1, 2, 3, 4 other things.
Little sheds, little plastic
things.
sheds.
Yes,
Yes.
okay. All right, so there's room to put this,
Oh, yes.
okay, so,
coming down.
The pool is down.
Yeah, it's gone.
yeah, it would have to be if you're gonna bid
Yeah,
on
gonna
this.
be sticking up,
Yeah.
yeah. Is it gonna into a pool?
Any board members have any other questions of the applicant? Other questions?
I got a question as a neighbor, I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Second, please. I'll open it up to the floor.
Thank you.
Sean?
Oh, I want to know if there's anybody in the audience.
Oh, okay.
Here, I have
Is
signed.
anybody else? I'll just see if there's any other questions
Board
from the
members, yeah.
board members, and then we'll open it up to the entire room.
I'm good.
This is pretty clear.
Okay, sir, you just need to name and address, and
Sure.
the floor is yours.
My name is Dustin Bonino, I live at 74 Depot Street, pretty much diagonally across from the residence on Railroad. I guess my first question is, what is the intended use of the garage? Is it residential? Is it for commercial? Will there be a limit to not allow commercial in the future? And here's my concern. This gentleman who lives there is in his 90s, late 80s. And, you know, I'm all for freedom to do whatever you want on your own property. However, there's enough traffic and not enough stop signs at that intersection as it is. My children, along with the 8 or 9 other children that live at that intersection, have all been almost hit multiple times. So my concern is, in the future, let's say this gentleman doesn't live here anymore, and somebody decides to have a construction business, and they want to start parking, 10, commercial vehicles. Is there any bylaws or any limitations on that?
Good question.
It just seems like a large garage for a 90-something-year-old gentleman who doesn't drive.
Well, actually, to answer part of your question,
Yeah.
it's located in a VR zone, which commercial garage is not allowed in that zone.
Okay,
So anything other than a residential use would constitute a zoning violation.
okay.
And also the bylaw on the larger trucks.
I'm sorry?
There's a bylaw on the larger trucks, so anything over 26,000.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And that's throughout town.
Okay.
So if this application passes, we could certainly condition it, just, although that's the only allowed use, I don't think anybody would be opposed to stating it's for residential purposes.
Yeah. That'd be my
And that's the only use they can, but
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would have a problem with that.
I mean, I don't know, since he's concerned, I mean, we could just put residential garage,
Right,
right?
Correct.
In our decision.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, again, my concern is, I don't think a 90 or something year old is gonna start a construction or landscaping business, but my concern is the next person that owns that business is gonna have a landscaping business with, 2, 3, 4, 5 vehicles, lawnmowers, construction vehicles, and it's gonna do detriment to the value for my home and my neighbors' homes. That's my concern.
If this application passes, we'll make that a condition that it be used strictly for residential purposes.
He's not the owner of the house. His daughter is the owner of the house.
Okay,
She takes care of him. That's why she has the ramp in the garage for him.
okay. Mike?
The footprint of his garage, if you subtract off the ramps and stuff that he put in there, you're basically almost down to a 24 by 24 garage, correct?
Which is a typical size.
I just wanted to clarify that, because it is an
Yeah.
oversized garage, but because, I don't know if you've seen the plans.
I have.
Yeah. Feel free to take a
Well,
look.
to him.
Yeah, but,
You can take a look out.
while he's doing that, is there anybody else in the room that would like to
Ramp inside,
speak?
So that's why it's 28 deep instead of 24 deep.
Yep.
That's-
So, and again, I'm all for the freedom to do what you
Oh,
want.
yeah,
on your
no,
own
just trying to
property,
give you the information
When,
that,
when this gentleman who's not 90 doesn't live there anymore, and they wanna just tear that ramp down inside and start parking commercial vehicles, that's my concern. It's not what the gentleman who lives there now, whether he's the owner or not, he's the one that lives there now.
Yeah.
It's not his
No,
intended
actually,
use,
I think
it's
there's some
future
use.
intended use. I don't want it to turn into a commercial parking lot, that's all.
Understood. Mike?
one other point, he's looking
Yeah,
up
9 by
the,
7s
they're only 7-foot high doors besides, so you're not even gonna be able to put a van in it. You
or a
won't-
pickup.
Is there anybody else in the room that would like to speak on this application?
Yeah, this is the phone.
All right, any other board members have questions or comments on this application?
What's he
But
done?
we want to allow the audience member a chance to look at the,
91.
They sleep along their driveways.
Daughter's
now.
63.
Do you have any further questions after looking at the plan?
No.
Great, thank you.
we have to close the public hearing. or-
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Holland, seconded by Mrs. Holmes to close the public hearing for case number,
019-110.
Thank you. All in favor of closing the public hearing? Aye. Opposed? We're going to hold decision meeting at this point? Sure. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Entertain a motion by,
I'll move that we open a decision hearing on the case.
okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Holmes to open a decision meeting. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Fitzpatrick, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is open.
If I may.
Yes.
And again, I just wanted to make clear that I think that in this particular circumstance, because of the nature of the deck, that the definition of what a structure is a little bit different than necessarily, again, taking a building and connecting it by a wall or a stone wall, and then building another structure on the property, or taking a rope and tying it to the building and saying that that's in some way a structure. Because if you really want to read that structure definition very, very broadly, I think you can try to make that argument, but I don't think it's a reasonable one. I just think in this particular circumstance, given the use and the proposed use and the expected use, that it really is part of the structure, because you have a situation where access to the home is almost dependent upon the ability of using that garage in that space. I realize it's not an absolute, because they're functioning now,
Yeah.
but I do think that there's a difference there in terms of what the idea of a structure is.
Do you guys want to read the definition? I have it right here.
Please. Well, I guess you don't have a strong objection to the argument for a structure, do you? Or do you want to stay out of such things?
I will stay out of this. We'll talk afterwards about that whole thing, that whole definition.
What's it say, John?
Well, just more or less a combination of materials assembled at a fixed location. That tells it right there. Framework, the building, to give support to a shelter such as a building, framework, a retaining wall, a tent, reviewing stand, a platform, a bin that goes on, so a flagpole, that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah.
Sean wants to
I think
Oh, no,
we got
I'm
back
sorry.
to Sean.
I'm satisfied with it. There was just a definition of building also, that was, it's slightly different, but that was all.
Yeah, a lot of people put decks on.
Anybody like to make a motion on this case?
make a motion to approve the special permit for 2019-10.
And, would you like
To be used as a residential garage.
okay, and you want to use this, Mike,
Yeah.
as a, it'll conform with the,
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see.
And here's the other plans on that.
Slow down, slow down.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're gonna reference a site plan drawn by Existing Grade Incorporated, surveyors and civil engineers, 62 Right Hill Road, Douglas, Mass. Plan number is, project number is 1875. Looking for his plan number.
Is it on here?
I didn't see one.
Yeah, on the back.
There was no plan number. This plan is dated 8/14/2019.
All right,
For the client is Lucille Gallagher, 38 Railroad Ave, Douglas, Mass. And also we'll reference a drawing by Stephen Dix. Drawing file number is 719-29-08/5. Dated 7/2/2019.
and I think you mentioned that it would be used strictly for residential purposes.
Residential.
Okay, all right. We have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Bombara. Any further discussion? All in favor of granting the special permit? Aye. Opposed? Special permit is granted. We'll get a decision drafted and signed into the town clerk as soon as it's...
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Excuse me? Dan? We filled out both. Do we have to withdraw the variance application?
No, actually,
We discounted it.
Okay.
Yeah, we just
I didn't know if
counted.
that gets-
Thank you.
That's all set?
yes, it is.
Very good.
Smart move, Stephen.
Yeah, right. Where did I ever do it smart? Talk to you, thank you.
Okay.
How's it going, Mark?
Good, how you doing?
How's the job treating you, okay?
So, special permit has a 2-year limit. Variances don't have a limit. It's not in this book. So he, with the variance, can do it whenever he wants unless you tell me to take action. This definition structure, it's, in my opinion, that garage is not attached. It's not really, because an attachment, this should be changed. An attached structure, you should leave from shelter into shelter. You shouldn't go outside and then go back inside. That's not an attached building. So this definition should change. Are you gonna attach a flagpole and consider it attached to your house if it's in your front yard because you connected it with the foundation?
But this,
So we're going, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're dealing with the issue in Uxbridge, which is, I know this is Douglas, but Fafford, Crown Shield.
Sure.
So he got approved, he put 40 buildings up and called them one because he connected them with a retaining wall in the ground, 30 feet in between each building. So do you think this is where you're heading with this? This needs to change?
I don't know if I could, in that definition, there is the use of the term support.
Yeah.
And there is a description of things like flagpoles and fences.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem to me that support is limited to supporting the structure, but arguably to supporting the primary use of the building that's present.
Yeah.
And that was what I was trying to narrow it down on this
Yeah.
particular case. just because I thought it was an extraordinary case.
Yeah.
Because I see exactly the risk in what you're describing,
Yeah.
which was what I was trying, I poorly did it, but I was attempting to illustrate by, well, if you take a string and you connect it, you read that definition of support. If a fence does it, if a flagpole does it, if
Well,
a thing
that's-
does it,
yes.
then doesn't that make it an absurd reading?
If-
And that was why, that was the point I was trying to make, and if I
But-
failed to do that, I apologize.
My thought was that just as important as a roof is to protect you, so is a deck
For egress.
to get in there, especially with a handicapped person.
Yeah, but the roof is usually what we do.
I know that.
If you got the thing, you got the roof, that's why we put roofs on,
Right.
so nobody can say nothing.
But that structure definition, I apologize, I'm not, but it has fence in it, like fence, flagpole, and all these other things.
A
But it's
lot of
defined
towns
as a
don't have
structure,
this
that's all.
right. So, I mean, the language of sharing an exterior common wall that provides shelter is attached, or we can go in a different direction and actually put attached garage, like, because you only have these circumstances when you're dealing with a garage. Because no one's allowed to build another house next to another house and connect it with a,
Not anymore.
no. So,
So
you know,
should we
just,
tweak the language, Mark?
I
Take the flagpole
It's
out.
either, I think you should think about it,
Yeah.
and think about an attached garage with a definition to being attached by, so like a lot of the houses down in the 50s, the ranch houses, they're a ranch house, they got a breezeway, and then they got a garage.
Right.
It's not heated, the breezeway, a lot of people renovate them and heat
Yep.
them, but that's an attachment to me.
Yep.
Because you got two exterior walls, you got a roof that connects the two.
Right.
I mean, is it the construction guy in me? Maybe, but it's connecting.
I gotta give you another scenario. This probably happened 20, 25 years ago. The guy wanted to build another house on his lot, and he asked the building inspector, I want to connect the two. We were just talking about this last 2 hours here. There's two houses on this particular lot. How he connected it was a walkway from one to the other.
Exactly, yeah. Do you think that's right?
No.
No,
Okay.
no,
So.
no.
One thing, Mark, any zoning changes, I believe including definitions, have to go through the planning board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the zone, I think the zoning board has to present the change to the planning board. I mean, anyone in town can if they wanted to, but I think if you guys put your head together and kind of think about this and present it to the planning
Again,
board.
as soon as I get to the flagpole, I'm like, you should shut up.
Well, no, but it creates a very broad definition.
It does.
That's all, because that means support,
Gotta
doesn't
be
mean holding up a
attached.
wall.
No,
Support
exactly.
means
but
something to do with
Attached as long as they're
flagpole.
within-
Oh, radio antenna, yeah, antennas.
Yeah.
Which is a temporary
Every other
structure.
town
Right.
makes them be
That's
attached.
all.
But that's why I had to
Change
stop and
that
go
at
like,
the
oh
town
my
meeting.
gosh.
Yeah.
you know?
Okay, we said,
Trouble.
now, we're not
Yeah,
gonna
and
buy
it is. I stopped at,
They were
I think I
raising hell
said,
with it.
yeah,
Yeah,
as soon as I
you
get
bring
to the
Douglas is ahead
Ah,
of
you
everybody
kidding
with
me? I was
accessory
showing.
apartments.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
So that was,
definitely.
Dan-
they
Okay,
got
so-
Good
Two buildings on
criteria
Dan's
to
lot.
it, and
Right.
that's all
I don't
it was
know.
So our
And
meeting
they
is
gotta
still
sign up, the
going.
thing runs out
So
every year or
could-
2
3
years.
years.
Could you
3
write
years,
down
gotta sign up.
on our,
It's gotta
can
be
we
family.
say out
sec-
loud, so
No,
we can
I
a
didn't
minute
understand
taker?
that. They
We'll
put in
write
section
down
8.
what we intend to look at
Well,
in our zoning
if
book.
they
I was just gonna
decide
say,
they
on
want to
page
do that, they
101,
can to get up our
paragraph-
affordable housing percentage.
Right.
count this one,
right.
1, 2,
It's
3,
not easy
4,
just to turn something into
5,
such
6,
Right,
7.
right.
So it's a lot of
8
legwork for
paragraphs
someone to
on
do.
Oh, yeah,
structural
but I'm just
no.
saying, they did that, you know, and I
So
never
8
understood
on page
why.
101.
And the name of it is structural,
Definition of structure.
Definition of structure.
Structure.
okay, so we should review that.
Why don't we review it, and at the next meeting, why don't we
Well,
draft
you had-
something, we'll make a
Review it,
recommendation to the
discuss it.
planning board, and they
Yep.
have to actually bring it to town
Yeah.
meeting.
Sure.
But
Yeah, get rid
Planning
of,
board can do that.
It, maybe in that definition, when applies to attachment of a garage or being considered attached or detached garage, does, and it would be all right if you say, like, a deck is an attachment, not a patio or a foundation,
That's
you know what I mean?
what the hell's a
You're gonna
rec?
be integrally involved with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, recreational
There was a big
trailway.
difference between special permit and variance. And
Yeah.
Who made
that
these
this-
So,
Seriously.
On this particular case, I viewed it as an individual, being connected, what the current use is proposed to be. It's 6.5 feet from the garage to the house. It didn't allow for a room to be created out of that. I felt that it was attached.
Yeah, well, they got a roof on it.
But there's no, I'm not being a wise guy.
As presented, I felt that it was.
There's no
attached.
definition of attached.
Exactly.
I'm not being a wise guy.
No, no.
There's
I don't know if there is or not, but
There's a
it,
definition of a structure, there's a definition of building.
without-
And the
without
definition of
reading that-
structure includes tent, which is
Yeah.
why I use string, because that strikes me as equally absurd as the idea of a tent.
Radio antenna.
Another way to look at
But I
that too.
wanted to suggest that this circumstance was radically different. That was what I was trying to convey.
Yeah.
And if I didn't do that, I apologize to the board, but that
you
was my
convinced
intention.
everybody to go along with you.
Yeah, we went along with that.
We were so confused by your
It's all my
explanation.
fault.
He pulled the old Columbo on us.
So Mike, another
No,
way
we
to
got,
look at that.
yeah, but we're talking about it though.
Another way to look at that is
Yeah.
that you could have pushed the building 6 feet closer to the house and got rid of the garage, and you could have went straight from the kitchen to the
Right in.
garage to the ramp.
No,
So you could
no,
help the
no,
relief.
because where's those plans? He couldn't have done that.
The big ones or the little ones?
No, the building plan.
No, that ain't. No, those
He
ain't.
took them back.
I did.
Yeah,
I got them, oh, I'm sorry, I got them right here.
Right here?
Yeah, those,
I got them right here.
John's got them.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know where they are.
so,
Wall plans.
oh, he goes in here, okay,
Yeah.
never mind. Because I was,
Not that, I'm not trying to
no,
make
in
an argument,
in my
but
mind, no, you're right.
if you really,
Yep.
if this was 10 feet off the road,
Yep.
and he could have got another 6,
Yep,
and you guys are trying to keep around that
Yep.
12 feet like you just did, then
Take my stuff again?
Yeah, should
okay, so, all right, so with that would eliminate his second egress. He'd have to put another egress somewhere else, because you can't egress into the garage, can you?
Only if you have a walk.
you can't
door.
egress into a garage from a bedroom.
All right, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. And you gotta have a walkout in the garage, right?
No, you only need
A man door, you mean?
You only need a
Yeah,
man door,
yeah.
you only need a man door in a garage if it's a second means of egress for a finished basement. There's no need for a man door in a garage. It has to go into the, obviously you have to go into the house.
And just in terms of the definition of the section, it doesn't identify building, this reconstruction after catastrophe or demolition, it identifies structure. Which is, again, that tent language, which is what makes it confusing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
That was just an opinion, right?
that's just my humble opinion, absolutely.
And he's got a law degree.
Well,
Yeah.
so they
So
claim.
there you go, you got a perfect
You-
person to write the
you
language
bluffed
right
it, yeah.
there.
And as I've said to
Where-
Mr. Bombara on many occasions, I never
Keep
said I was a copy.
That's right, that's right.
But actually, would you be willing to
Help us
do a
with this?
draft
Yeah.
of that? And then we can kick it around, maybe tweak
That'll
it,
save time.
and then we can send it along to the planning board.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you don't mind coming with a draft, and we'll
Help people out.
We
to
we gotta let them know
define.
be a
why.
starting point.
Yeah.
You know, we'll use it as
The
a
idea
starting
of it,
point.
Bob.
There was one other thing while you're
Usually,
thinking
yes.
about this, submitting changes or whatever, and I think we talked about it a few months ago, is that where you measure the 35 feet for building
Right.
height. Common sense tells you you do an average grade, a median grade.
Right?
But if it's like this, right now, they can take the measurement from here and not here.
Right,
Right.
So they can be 45 in the back.
right.
So it's something to think about, to put that language in. And that's simple, this median average grade or.
So you're talking, only because my house is rather tall.
No.
So the entrance.
It wouldn't
to the house
affect
you're talking
anything now.
about.
Yeah.
You would be pre-existing.
No, no, I know that.
You would be
but I'm
pre-existing
questioning this.
non-conforming.
I had that same conversation.
So your house
with
is
the building
here.
inspection.
Right.
This is the back of your house, so the grade goes through like this.
Yeah.
Right now, they can take a measurement from here to here. Where,
Or from here to here.
or from here, that's what I was trying to say, from
Yeah.
here to here.
Right.
But they should be taking it from the average grade around the foundation.
3/4 of the foundation, 3/4.
That house that's up on Northwest Main Street is being built. I live right behind it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's why it was like, it's gotta be 50 feet from the
Yeah,
14-foot
so
basement.
something to think about too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mike.
Sorry, I didn't mean to create more work.
No, not at all. No, we appreciate it.
Makes your job easy, actually.
We love that, John. We love that.
You know who's got a good plan for that is the city of Newton. They really get their stuff together.
They do.
A little touchy, but it's good. It's good.
I
They
work a
really-
lot in
I
it.
got the
Yeah,
bucks
yeah.
to run it too.
Louis, you agree with that?
What, in Newton?
The rules of Newton?
Oh, yeah, the rules are the rules.
They're clear. No, no,
You know, you follow the rules, you don't have no problem. The time you get in a problem is when you don't follow the rules.
Excellent. You're learning.
You know?
Can I make a
No, no.
motion to close the-
Can we do something one more time?
We have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick to close the,
To
adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
Adjourn, I'm sorry.
okay.
All in
Aye.
favor?
All right.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at
Push that
8:12.
off.